This video, I'm going to be sharing with you the shadow side of the law of attraction that no one tells you, understanding more about this aspect, how dangerous it can be, and how to transcend it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that of the shadow side of the law of attraction. This is a very subtle thing that a lot of people aren't aware of. And when you become aware of it, it changes the game. It changes the game. You want to know why it changes the game? Because then you don't come from this place of neediness, this place of the energy state from which you want what you want to create in your life. So a lot of times what we'll realize too, let me first off share with you a little bit of this. I've been reading a lot lately about that of the Toltecs. The Toltecs have been around a long time ago. I don't know exactly how long, but they talk a lot about, there's a book called The Four Agreements that is based on some of the teachings of the Toltecs. And it has to do with understanding that our reality is a dream. We all have our own individual dream, and our dream is what we create with our beliefs. And at the same time, we have this collective dream, which is the accumulation of all the dreams of society, of all the different people. And what happens is many of us have our own dreams. We could even think of this as the dream of what we want to create in our life. And what many of us do is we tag onto other people's dreams of people we idolize, people we look up to. And the danger in this is that many of us may think that we want what we think we want, which is what we're given as social conditioning. When we go out into the world, we see that of the money, the cars, the clothes, the status, the power, all of these things that we think we need to want, but we only want it because we've been conditioned to think that that's what's important. We've been conditioned to compare ourselves to other people, and if we can get just a little bit ahead of everyone else, we can feel better about ourselves. And many of these desires are actually the desires of other people, of other celebrities, people we look up to, media corporations. And what happens is then we take on the collective dreams as if they're our own. And many times that will create a lot of unhappiness, a lot of unworthiness, a lot of unsatisfaction, because we're taking on the goal of the things that are side effects. Now what I mean by side effects is many people don't get straight to their heart of what they want. And the shadow side is from when we're going to just the mind, we're going to the ego. Think of the shadow as part of the ego that wants things based on increasing its status, wants things based on increasing its level of self-worth. But understand that what we can begin to do is be aware of this. Now, sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, Aaron, I want more money. I want to win the lottery. And I dog on the lottery a lot. And the reason being is because most people want the lottery to win the lottery for the wrong reasons. They want the money the lottery brings, but they're not really passionate about going and getting lottery numbers. About 90%, 99% of people aren't really passionate about it. They're just hoping that they can acquire all the money that comes with it. And many people will go straight to money. Many people do go straight to money. They're doing a job they just don't like, but it brings in the money for the bills and it's comfortable. However, money is a side effect of you doing what you love, or it's a side effect of the value you bring. So when you start to look at these things in new ways, you can see that many times you may be chasing the wrong things. You may be chasing money thinking the money is going to bring you happiness, when money won't bring you happiness. Money is just a side effect. So instead of going for side effects, go for getting to the core. The shadow aspect, think of that kind of like the darker aspects also that are created as we are growing up and as we are developing who we think we are, our sense of identity. And many parts of our shadow may be things that are running our life unconsciously. Some of them may serve us for a period of time, but eventually we have to let them go. For example, when I first started making YouTube videos, part of me probably was putting so much effort and willpower into what I do because I was intending to become more worthy. I was intending to become someone, to prove people wrong that didn't believe in me. When I was first starting on YouTube, I had a lot of people that would look at me and they'd be like, what are you up to, Aaron? I'd be like, I'm making YouTube videos. And I was making YouTube videos for like 6 months to a year with almost no results at all. And people, I'd go to like parties and stuff or talk to friends and I could just see the glaze in their eyes. I'd be like, oh, I'm making YouTube videos. They're like, oh, okay. You know, like, that'll never happen. Another one of your dreams. And I would be like, no, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to have this willpower. It served me in certain ways, but I realized that then I was putting my happiness into the future and I was using the wrong parameters, the wrong benchmarks for success. You see, I was like looking for like, oh, I'll be happy when I get to 100,000 subscribers. 100,000 comes around. It's a great feeling of accomplishment. I'm doing what I love full time. However, there was also a sense of, I want more, always more. And then what happened is I up to 200,000, and then I hit 200,000, then 300,000, then 400,000, 500,000. Now, you see, it just keeps on going. But the shadow side of the law of attraction is if we are too materialistic, and we only want things for the things that will gratify our ego, we create a dangerous environment. And it will serve us for a certain period of time, because if that serves us to take action, that's great. The key is not becoming identified with it. We just have to be aware. We have to be aware of the shadow side of ourselves. Part of me may have such a strong work ethic because of my past, of having to become someone in the past when I went through pain growing up. Of being told that, like, if you don't go to college, you won't be successful. And me wanting to, even though I went to college, but me wanting to prove it wrong that I didn't use anything to do with going to college in what I do today. You see, there are things that we can begin to do and understand about the way we are wired, about the way that we see ourselves, that would begin to change the way we show up in the world. So, the shadow side of the law of attraction is understanding the ego desires versus the higher purpose. So think of it like that. The ego desires of why we want things. Our ego thinks it wants it because we will have more power. We will have more things to buy. We will have more friends. We will have more of all of this stuff. That's the ego desire. You can be aware that some of this is a side effect. Yes, and then there's that higher mission. And the higher mission and the ego, it's about merging these two together and not being identified with the ego desires. The higher mission is something that adds value to everyone else, or that adds value in general. By you being yourself, you're adding value if you're being your true self. When I make YouTube videos, what happens is I'm doing what I love. I'm in a high vibration flow state. That's my higher self. However, if I were to become solely identified with Aaron Doughty, who has X number of subscribers and all of these things, then I create this shadow aspect of myself, and that creates the potential for me to be knocked off the pedestal. So what I do is I make sure that I always remember that it's not really me making these videos. It's an energy that's flowing through me. Some people could call that channeling. Some people call that flow state, whatever you want to call it. But as long as I remain humble and I allow it to flow through because it wants to come through so that it can help more people, then it keeps the energy going. And a side effect of that is still abundance. The nice things still come. The cool opportunities come. The ability to travel come. The friends, everything comes. But I'm not identified with it. It comes from a level of identification. And the shadow side wants to identify with all of the materialism. And if we become identified with the materialism, we stay in lower states of consciousness. However, realize reality is still a dream. It's still meant to be fun. So you can still enjoy those things, but you don't become identified with them. You don't become attached to the dream itself. You see, so this is a different perspective. And the way that I view it is I focus more on bridging the two. What are you passionate about? You know, I watch the show Shark Tank sometimes. And in the show, you see product. People come in and they pitch their products to these investors. And the products they pitch, you can always see a correlation with the ones that are going to do the best with how much value they add to other people. Value is subjective. That is true. You could say, well, you know, I was watching one the other day and it was like some food restaurant place that had some of the most unhealthy food you've ever seen. They would like mix like mozzarella sticks with jalapeno poppers with like all these different things into a sandwich. It's so unhealthy, but the sharks thought it was delicious. So what you'll notice is that that company will do well. One, because it's on Shark Tank, and that immediately puts it to like a new level of people paying attention. But two, people are going to see the value in going to and eating some unhealthy food. They're going to get that validation while they eat it, even though it might not be health conscious or something that helps them. However, it's about being aware that people will perceive that as valuable. So because of that, that is adding value, the perceived value in the marketplace. And then there's the other side of things of adding value maybe in more of a sense of something that really does add value and changes people's lives. I've seen things on Shark Tank that have come on that are really something that'll add value to people's lives. Like there was one that was like some type of breathometer thing so that people could know whether they had alcohol in their system, if they were good to drive or not. That's a stronger why. It's a stronger purpose. That would help even more people. And that one, every single shark was in on that deal. And it was for millions of dollars because it had a strong why, it had a strong purpose. Let me ask you a question though. What is your why? What is your purpose? Because if you are going towards that, you will find that all these little side effects of the ego stuff comes anyways. As long as you don't become identified, it will continue to happen. But be aware that there's a larger stream that wants to come through you. Be aware that you have a purpose in life, and when you tap into that purpose, you tap into the larger energy system. You see, here's the thing. Every single one of us are connected, whether we're aware of it or not. Every single one of us have a connection. And what we put out comes back to us. Now, just as much as we are having our own individual reality, there's a reality that encompasses all of us. And the universe is a consciousness in itself, just like there's cells in our body, but we are also a cell of Mother Gaia. Now, the universe itself has a consciousness, and when you have this intention to add value to the universe, to other people, the universe gives you more resources to do that in a humble way. That's why contribution is so powerful, is when you have a strong why, when you have a strong purpose. So the law, that is the true law of attraction, is when you are in alignment with the universe, you are embodying your divine self, your authentic self, who you're really meant to be. But you see, the shadow side of the law of attraction is when you just identify as the ego. You are just focused on the self-fulfilling things that make you feel happy. And well, this is the thing. You do want to be happy, but it's when you think that the side effects are what makes you happy. You think it's the money that's going to make you happy, or you think it's the relationship, or you think it's the power. That is our side effects of influence. Those are side effects of you doing what you love, of you being who you are. So don't go to the side effects. Fill up your own cup and realize the energy is within you to feel happy right now. And when you start to embody the happiness right now, you begin to transform your life in a powerful way. You see, we just give these external benchmarks in our mind. When XYZ happens, then I can feel happy. But the key is being aware of it. Because when you become aware of it, you can then say, wait, I can give myself permission right now to be happy. And by doing so, you will become happier. All these external benchmarks I had, when I get to 100,000 subs, I'll feel happy. 200,000 subs, 3, 4. Instead, I'm like, why don't I just feel happy right now? And the paradox is, as soon as I decided, no, I'm just going to be happy right now, more and more abundance comes in than ever before because I'm in a higher frequency. If you focus instead on the law of attraction, you focus on raising your level of consciousness, you'll get what you want anyways. But most people do and are trying to attract things from a level of unworthiness or from a level of the ego desires or identification with the ego. So be aware of the balance of these two things. Start to put yourself more connected to your heart. Why are you doing what you do? What are you passionate about? And understand, the more you do that, the more you focus on that, the more your life will begin to change, because then the more you're existing in a higher state of consciousness. But the key to this video is awareness. Be aware of why you want what you want and start to merge it with a higher vision. Start to merge it with the universe flowing through you. Doesn't mean you have to become a YouTuber that shares information. It could. But what it could mean is that you just start doing what you are really passionate about, because that feeling of passion is normally going to be something that adds value to other people, even in unconscious ways. because you're being at the core of who you are. You're doing what you're meant to be doing in life. So the shadow side of the law of attraction is when we go for side effects. It's when we go just for the money, we become identified with it. It's when we go just for the power, we identify with it. Instead, go for more of at your core, align with the universe, allow things to flow through you. Have a strong why. Be aware of what the ego wants, but don't identify with it, and you'll be just fine. So another thing I have is something that will help you to raise your level of consciousness. It's a free meditation. It's in the top of the description box below. Listen to it for 21 days. I think it'll change your life. Also, I'll be doing more live Q&As on Instagram. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, you can do it right here. You can ask me questions. Plus, I post twice a day there as well. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification gear so you can see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, peace, much love, and namaste.